The following show contains views and opinions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Audience discretion is advised.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to Thespian Talk. I am your host, Gomer the Ranting Thespian, and my co-hosts with me are Erin Mills, aka DubiousKhan.
Yo.
And the Cat.
Hello, everyone.
Yay! So this week is been a thing of a week for me, a little bit here. I actually I got my eyes checked out, and which, you know, it's been like over a decade since I had an eye appointment, so I was like, you know, it's time. I had money on the health savings account card that I got through the last company I was working for. Plenty of money on it. Okay, sure. You know, get the eye appointment, no problem. Pay with a card, whatever. So I was like, okay. And bear in mind, I do this at the local Walmart because it's the one I went to last time, and you know, so it's like, you know, just whatever. Anyway. So it's like, okay, I'll go ahead and get some glasses, order some backup glasses, because what I went in for was to see about getting some contacts again. But, you know, always having a pair of backup glasses, and it's like, okay, you know, choose out the thing, give them the prescription, give me the cost, and I try to run the card in the little Walmart thing, because you have to do it through that. And I asked for my debit PIN number. It's like, okay, sure, whatever, you know, the card says it's a debit card. Put it in, nothing. Okay. Turns out, after a call to the folks over at the HSA offices, they only work as a credit. They don't work as debit, even though it says debit on it, which is weird and normally would not be an issue. But the Walmart thing didn't even give me the option for a credit. It just automatically went to debit, which annoys the shit out of me. Like, God damn it, Walmart. And I think I have a possible... I think I might have a reason why that they do that, because I know they've been having got back and forth issues with Visa on whether or not I think it's allowing, you know, forcing Walmart to have a credit option, even though Walmart wants to be cheap asses and not allow it, even though some people obviously need it. Hello. So yeah, that's gonna be a problem. The actual doctor's appointment, no big deal. Because, you know, he does it as credit anyway. So that was taken care of. It's just the glasses and the contacts might be a bit of an issue because Walmart wants to be a dick. So how has your week been, Erin?
Fine. I have nothing to report this week. It's been fine. I just worked and came home, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Kat, how about you?
Kind of the same, except next week I have a physical inventory at my new job, so I'm like a nervous wreck at work, but then when I come home, it's like, okay, normal life.
Yeah. That sounds like fun. But speaking of fun things, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Gomer21XX. I bring that up because this will also kind of go into our shout-outs as well. Right now, I'm at the $25 level. You can get some advertisement on pretty much everything that I do. If it's on a video, like a Let's Play video or whatever, it'll go at the end of that. These podcasts, I try to do them at the beginning. And all that good stuff. So, and with the amount of material I could put out, that's a lot of videos with your stuff on it. So, but yeah, there is one podcast called Invest with Beth. It is a real estate investment based podcast. She's working on her next episode as we speak. You can go to investwithbeth.com, I believe is the website for it, or you could just click the iTunes link that's going to be down in the doobly-doo. Check her out, she's awesome. And also check out circleplus.co, you know, run by Holly Christine and Lady Jess. It is a site for women, by women, with women, of women, sometimes around women and in women, in their heads. You know, check it out. It's awesome. Circleplus.co.
That in women thing isn't still not sounding not creepy.
I know. I got to work better with that. It's work in progress. I swear. just like everything I do, it's a work in progress. But Erin, do you have any for this week?
No, actually, I don't.
Oh wow. And Kat?
Nope, I got nothing.
Wow. Cat is usual. Erin is not very usual. But hey, that happens. Sometimes you just don't have any. It happens sometimes. But we did get something really awesome this week, and I should have it on the actual post itself, both here and on YouTube, and well, here being on the site on YouTube and whatever. But we got a piece of fan art.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
Oh, yes, we did. That's right.
Yes, Cutie Puppy Fire did like a logo for Suddenly Grenades, which also brings you Suddenly Vaginas and Suddenly Ducks. Another fine product from Evil Co. Which I like it, and with that, and also with the other piece of fan art we got like a little while ago, I've mentioned a couple of times that I have my own solo web space, at least currently solo web space, rtgproductions.net. I'm using that to kind of sandbox designs until I can move the entire RT Gomer Productions site over there. But for right now, I do have a little, a fan art page where I show off all the fan art that we've gotten and talked about. And I think it's just rtgproductions.net/ I want to say fan art. That link will also be in the doobly-doo. You can take a look at those, and you can say, hey, these were sent in and pretty cool, because I want to have a place to show off fan art that we happen to get, and hopefully we get a lot more. That would be awesome. So with that, no inbox mail notes this week. That's fine. But we'll go ahead and hit our news really quickly. Wow, this is just going by. So our first one comes out of Leyland, West Virginia. I was about to say Virginia. No, Little West. Or actually, I can put it first. It's actually last in our file, but I forgot to scroll up. But since I've already mentioned it, oops. Ashley Harmon and Jonathan Flint are charged with child neglect after trying to sell Harmon's 3-month-old baby for $500 to $1,000. Yeah, let's get the pissed off one out of the way, I guess.
Yeah, why exactly did you choose this one to be last this week?
I think it was just in order of...
I think you just enjoy sending me and Kat off the show, miserable and depressed and hating humanity. You're a sadist, Homer.
Yeah.
Well, I am a bit of a sadomasochist. Not necessarily in a sexual way. Get your minds out of the gutter. But no, I mean, in all honesty, a little bit of a inside baseball here. I do have like another link that I could use to also lighten it up, but may not need it for this particular story. But anyway, deputy said the couple showed up at a neighbor's door and tried to get Carolyn Redden to buy the child. She refused, but took the child in to care for her. Redden did not want to show her face on camera, but she spoke to the local news about her efforts. Why have a child if you're not going to care for it, Redden said. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you give up on a child. Well, oh God, that's a can of worms right here. Because, maybe they had the child 3 months and they're like, nope, fuck it, But there are better ways if you can't care for a child, or if you don't want the child, which that latter one is very tragic, I think. Maybe tragic's not the right word, but either way, if you can't care for a child, there are other ways to do it than trying to sell your child. I mean, and even if you're strapped for money, you could sell other things. You could do other things besides selling your child. But that's not, no. Oh, it's just, Erin, do you have something to add before I just kind of just plop? Oh.
I hate humanity.
Yeah.
I hate humanity, and stories like this make me wonder why we just don't push the button and wipe everybody and everything out.
Yeah, but that would include the three of us.
In that innocent
so it's
little
all
kid.
about us now.
Well, hey, you know what? I mean, yeah, nah. But Kat, do you have any extra to add, or?
I know if I was going to sell a child, I certainly wouldn't do it for that cheap. Because if you're going to go to jail for a very long time, make it something good.
Yeah.
There's a black market for this sort of thing. I mean, it just seems so stupid to, try and sell your child. Like, how do you not think that that's going to get you arrested? I think if you were really tired of your child, you'd abandon them somewhere where they could die. And but no, apparently that's too much guilt, but not as much guilt as if you were just trying to sell your child off on your neighbor.
Yeah, abandoning a child, leaving them to die. Like I think it was a couple in Japan that did that recently. You know,
Yeah, I saw that.
it's like, oh no, I don't think I put it in here, but I knew it had to come up at some point. Ooh.
So,
Uh,
so it just sort of boggles my mind that they draw the line at, well, they don't want the child, but they don't want to kill it or let it die.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
they
Sorry, go
want to
ahead.
make a buck, so they're just gonna try and sell the kid as if that was going to work.
Yeah, I just jumped to the last paragraph in the article. Fayette County deputy said Ashley Harmon has 2 other children she has left in another part of the state. They also said the baby's biological father had nothing to do with this. He did not know where the mother had taken the child. The baby is currently with Child Protective Services. They'll decide if the biological father will get custody.
Jeebus! She just pops them out and leaves them out everywhere. I mean, talk about spreading your seed. That's ridiculous. Okay. Here, there is this thing. I don't know how well you guys, how good of a sex education you guys got in West Virginia. I really don't know. It could be some of the best of the country. Probably not. But just in case you didn't, there are these things called condoms. There's this concept called birth control. You can use those and you can still have sex. It's fine. Or you can get surgeries done. I'm pretty sure somebody would be willing to help you pay for surgeries if you're that intent on not having a child. Well, then again, given some of the testimonials from some of my friends who got themselves sterilized, maybe not. Ugh. Either way, you have other options than just, rhythm and prayer, which is obviously not working, and you obviously don't want your kids. So,
It says she left her, 2 other kids somewhere. Like, where exactly did that happen? Like, did she just leave them with her folks or something?
I hope so. I hope she didn't just, toss them out in the mountains out there. Just, no. Oh, God. Again, you don't want your kids. First of all, if you don't want kids, take your precautions and understand your risks. And if you have kids and you end up not wanting them or can't afford them or whatever, there are better options than trying to sell them. And like Kat mentioned, really underselling the price, too.
Seriously, that's what your child's life is worth to you, $500 to $1,000.
Yeah.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, that doesn't even pay for a year's worth of care. It really doesn't. Oh. So on a lighter note, we're going to go to what I was supposed to have as the first story. And we're already going into Florida. Joy. Out of Fort Myers. And a daring bank robbery ended in the arrest of 3 Illinois vacationers. It happened Saturday morning at Fifth Third Bank in Fort Myers off of Summerlin Road. Lee County Sheriff's deputies said 3 suspects stole money from the bank, then took off in a vehicle that stood out like a sore thumb. A taxi cab. Isn't that everybody's first choice of getaway vehicle, a taxi cab? No, it's not, because
you think
it's
a
stupid.
black sedan.
You would think. Those suspects were identified as Brett Strusner, Paul Painter, wow, and Karen Bajoras. All 3 were caught not long after the crime and charged with second-degree felony robbery. This is, bank robberies, you don't usually see that happening, so, I mean, good for catching people off guard, I guess, but, whatever. At the first court appearance on Sunday, Bajoras was given a $250,000 bond, while Strusner and Painter were given a $500,000 bond. If any of them bond out, they'll have to wear a GPS ankle bracelet and have no contact with the co-defendants. Like you do. Eyewitnesses who were dining next door at Ruby Tuesday when the robbery happened said the taxi was actually parked at the restaurant during the crime. So they robbed the bank. And they ran... let's see. Okay, they ran next door. Okay, so it's not like across the street or anything. And stole a taxi. And the theft also set off a die pack attached to the cash, some of which was left scattered on the road.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I understand.
So they're incompetent in every way.
Yes, very, very competent. And again, robbing a bank in the middle of the day. Oh. I'm just glad that none of them was my cousin, who decided to be stupid and try and rob a storage unit in the middle of the day. And he got pretty much what these guys are gonna get. They're gonna go to jail for a while. Just wow. That's why if you shouldn't rob a bank, but if you must, do it at night. Do it at a time where you're not likely to get caught.
Well, if you think about it, if you go at night, it's going to set off alarms. If you go during the day and you can catch, if there's nobody there except the teller, and you can catch them before they trigger the alarm, then you have a better chance of getting out before the cops get there. Clearly, these guys aren't that smart, so I think they knew if they went at night, they'd set off an alarm, so I think they went during the day to, get there when there would be the least amount of people.
That actually is a little... Wow. That's pretty... Yeah. Erin, do you have...
It's not like I've spent a lot of time thinking about how to rob banks or anything.
This is true.
I've thought a lot about how to rob retail, though, because I worked in retail for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I've thought about it a lot. And if you try and, crash in at some place at night, you're going to set off a bajillion alarms.
Yeah, this is true. Unless it's Walmart, which they're always open, so what alarms? Erin, do you have anything to add?
Morons. Next.
Yeah. Okay, now this one, I'm pretty sure everybody's probably heard of this one, and I wanted to say a few things about it. A street preacher who yells anti-gay messages got hit over the head by a student outraged by his offensive speech. Glendale, Arizona preacher brother Dean Saxton makes it a habit to stand outside local high schools and loudly condemn students and members of the LGBT community. Local news reports he often holds a sign that says, "You deserve to be raped." Yeah, that fucker. But when he embarked on one of his unsolicited missions this month at Apollo High School, Tabitha Brubaker, 19, responded to what she called hate speech by striking him over the head with a baseball bat, according to authorities. She has been charged with felony assault, and police also charged her with marijuana possession. I guess she had it on her person? Yeah, never mind. Saxon posted a video of the incident on YouTube in which he can be seen yelling his message outside the high school. "Bible says it's not okay to be gay!" Show me where. "You need to stop doing nasty things." I think it's supposed to be naughty. "Apollo High School, you need to stop looking up nasty things on the internet." Like, Cool Cat Saves the Kids? I don't know. Random reference. He is approached periodically by students and a teacher repudiating him. I cannot speak. Saxton accuses the teacher of trying to influence the students, who he called evil. A teacher trying to influence their students. Isn't that what teachers are kind of supposed to do? Teach and, through that teaching, influence them to be better people? I would hope.
Clearly the preacher isn't, so...
Yeah. I'm trying to influence the fact that you need to be gone, the teacher says. "I think you're a disgrace to Christianity. Why don't you go and preach it to somebody who really wants to hear your message, like Westboro Baptist Church?" Thank you!
Damn, sass teacher.
Yes! Another adult approaches Saxton and tells him to leave, saying he doesn't think Saxton was playing with a full deck. He then says these kids don't need to see that, and then reacts with shock when Saxton is hit over the head. His camera is still rolling when he's hit, and some people standing around him seem to celebrate. Brubaker is out of frame, but she has been arrested for hitting Saxton. Okay. I'm going to say this right now. I do not condone, even as horrible as this guy is. I may hyperbolize or go off and say, yeah, I really wouldn't mind, punching this guy in the face or hitting him in the head with a bat. That being said, odds are I wouldn't actually do it, and I don't necessarily outright condone it, even with as horrible a message as that, But on the other hand, the other side of me, that is the source of all that hyperbole, like he should be beat in the face or whatever. That side of me is cheering a little bit because, yay, he's an asshole. He got beat in the back of the head. So I'm kind of double-minded on that one because it's like I don't condone it, but yay. Yeah. Erin, do you have any thoughts on that? Erin?
The guy's an asshole, yes. Did not deserve to be clocked in the head with a fucking baseball bat. You call the cops and you have him forcibly removed. It's a school.
Yeah.
You can do that. You don't like what he's saying, fine. Bitch in the head with a baseball bat. You don't.
Yeah. And like I said, double mind on me. That half the mind agrees. Kat?
I'm halfway in between Gomer and then something more extreme where, I can't condone hitting him with a baseball bat. It was a really dumb move. She's going to pay for it, but he absolutely deserved to be hit in the head with a baseball bat. It's not something I would ever say you should do, but I think he totally deserved it. He got what he had coming. Harassing people is not something anybody should be doing. Harassing women is not something that I think anybody should be doing at all, especially underage girls. He's a fucking piece of shit, and he deserved to get hit in the head with a baseball bat, but I don't think she should have done it. I think he deserved it, but I don't think anybody should do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. I think we all can agree on that one. Really, that sign, dude? He's a dude. No.
I would definitely, like, if I were that school, I would have some sort of, intervention. I'd have called the cops a long time ago on him several times.
Yeah.
I'd have, something that prevents him from being anywhere near the school grounds.
Yeah, if nothing else, disturbing the peace. That's still a thing, right?
It's harassment. It's pure harassment.
Yeah.
So I would have something there in place to keep him from coming in, not just on the grounds, but near the grounds.
Yeah, there you go. And
he's a safety hazard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's actually kind of hard to believe that you. Actually, no, it's not hard to believe at all. Who am I fucking kidding? That if a random adult was just like walking around near a school, if people thought that he was a rapist, he would be arrested immediately. Like, we would have a guy who would walk around the woods near our school, and we would go on lockdown because there was a possibility that the guy had a gun. And that's how paranoid our schools were about children getting hurt. But
right.
Clearly, this guy is some sort of religious fanatic, and there's probably somebody up there who doesn't disagree with him, so he's allowed to keep on doing this bullshit because somebody probably agrees.
Yeah. Just to keep with the theme of schools, which I seem to have this week, out of Glendale, Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure Josh Hadley has mentioned this on at least one show. If he hasn't already, he probably will. Nicollet High School administrators alerted parents Wednesday to what they called a derogatory and offensive demonstration involving a Confederate flag inside a classroom. The parents said a student showed up to school with the flag and announced during an English class that it was White Privilege Day. Kid, you're in America. If you want to, if you want to claim a day as White Privilege Day, you have literally over 300 days. Over 300 days to claim it to be White Privilege Day. We're in America.
It's every day. It's literally every day. Even during Black History Month, it is always White Privilege Day.
Yes. So, that's kind of stupid. Uh-oh. Police were called to the school. The student was suspended. As you do, good on the school. Nicollet High School Principal Gregory Cabara sent an email to parents letting them know what happened. The action disrupted the class and upset many students. While district policy allows for a student to initiate conversation about a controversial issue, it must be presented in the ordinary course of classroom instruction, cannot be disruptive to the educational setting. The student's actions were a clear violation of this policy. Graduating senior Hannah McBride said the student's action is an incorrect depiction of students at Nicollet High School. It's a really terrible thing to happen for our school. I don't think it's accurate representation of the student body at Nicollet. She said the student should have exercised better judgment. Yeah. Because, there are a lot of things, you can go in there and you can protest things in schools. That's fine. Protesting white, not protesting, but trying to demonstrate white power in an obviously desegregated high school, that's not going to look good on you, kid. That's just not. Even down here, that doesn't look too good on you. It just doesn't. And I say white power, but it's still a derogatory and offensive demonstration. Confederate flag, you keep that outside the classroom, please. Along with a lot of other things, but that's probably that's just me there. Erin, do you have any thoughts on this?
I hate humanity.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks. But yeah.
It makes you wonder if he was just like trying to be funny, or if he really was like white power, yeah. Because either way, it was inappropriate, and either way, he deserved what he got. Because if he was trying to be funny, it wasn't. But
yeah.
it just makes me wonder, like, if he really thought that, or if he was just trying to be funny.
Either way, school is in the right. I can honestly say, good on you, school. Thumbs up. Another one where the school is actually not really the bad guy. This next one either, and it's even the same kind of thing. You both know about Post Secret and everything, right? And those, no. Okay. Well, Post Secret, you send in things, you like anonymously confess things, you send it into them, and they'll post it for you, like with some kind of background or whatever. I've seen people use Whisper for that as well. So out of Anthem, Arizona, the principal of Boulder Creek High School in Anthem says the sophomore English teacher will not be disciplined for allowing a handwritten anonymous racist statement to be posted in class as part of a group activity. The phrase was written by a student in the classroom and stated, "I despise the presence of black people." Thank goodness it was anonymous, because, well, that's still going to be awkward.
Get beaten up in the parking lot after class.
Yeah. It was one of many anonymous confessions posted on the classroom wall by the students who were asked to write down secretly held views or ideas for the purpose of a larger discussion about biases and prejudice. Okay, I like that idea. The exercise, held on the last day of the school year, was intended to help students confront racism and overcome judgments they make about others, Principal Lauren Sheehan said. The activity is based on the book Post Secret, Extraordinary Confessions from Ordinary Lives. My understanding is then there was a classroom discussion about, wow, can you believe that some of these comments came from your colleagues, came from other students in the classroom? What can we do to get that out in the open, to talk about those issues and change those attitudes? But not everyone saw the exercise as a constructive learning opportunity, especially considering there was just one black student in the class. Oh, wow. Mother of that student lodged a complaint with Boulder Creek High School vice principal last week, and she said her daughter was put in a terrible situation. I feel sorry for my daughter. She was upset. It hurt her feelings. Yeah. It's disheartening that in 2016 these things still go on. Oh, honey, you don't pay attention to podcasts like mine, do you? And it is honestly disheartening that we still have to worry about this bullshit. Yeah, but we have to deal until it is finally taken care of. And I think honestly this, and I think the principal, her hope is in the future the teacher will be clear about what the purpose of the activity is, so that there is a sense of safety and dignity for all the students. I like that. I like that project in theory. I think it's a good idea to get some thoughts out there and discuss them, and and if possible change attitudes. Get a discussion started about these things, and that's fine. Saying I'm uncomfortable with the presence of black people, that's a little awkward. But at the same time, that kind of attitude obviously still needs to be talked about.
It does, but here's the thing. They're saying that this is like a room full of 15-year-olds. This smacks of somebody just being an asshole.
Yeah, and that is also most likely true, too. It's like, oh, God damn it. But asshole or not, I if it opens up the conversation, it is at least a silver lining. Asshole or not. But again, my thought on that, the project itself, good idea. Just some kid decided to be an asshole and ruin it for everybody else, or at least try to.
Welcome to high school.
Yeah.
There's always going to be an asshole that thinks they're funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's just an inevitable part of life, much less high school. High school fucking sucks.
Oh yeah. And yet we keep harkening back to it, and in our movies and everything. But that's a whole different story. Erin, do you have any other things to add to this?
No.
Okay. Okay. Now I put this one in here because I know that there is a one certain joke to be made from this.
If you make that joke, I will hurt you. Then
I personally will not make that joke. I personally will not. A 27-year-old Memphis man faces charges of attempted second-degree murder and vandalism after he allegedly tried to run over a former co-worker with a forklift and, after failing that, used the vehicle to flip the victim's SUV. And somebody in the audience is already making that joke. Told you I wouldn't make it.
Yep.
Michael Chambers was arrested Tuesday and jailed on $350,000 bond. His initial court date is set for Thursday. According to an affidavit, Chambers showed up May 14th at a trucking company on Getwell, from which he had been fired and banned from the property several months earlier. He began arguing with the victim, grabbing his shirt and knocking off his glasses. The victim brandished a box cutter to protect himself. After walking away from the suspect, the victim heard the forklift start and turned to see Chambers driving the vehicle. Chambers tried several times to run over the victim, who finally escaped through a door, according to the affidavit. The suspect then used the forklift to overturn the victim's Chevrolet Avalanche. The victim identified Chambers from a police photo lineup, the affidavit states, and the incident was also captured by surveillance cameras. I am trying so hard not to make that joke. Trying so hard not to. Oh, God. But you have to admit, it's another one of those things. You shouldn't do this, especially if you're disgruntled and fired, because that can make it worse for you. But on the other hand, that is some creative shit. I think. You know, you shouldn't do it, but goddamn if that's not creative. Kat, do you have anything to say?
Oh, not really. I work at a place with a forklift, and stuff with the forklift is usually like our pranks on other people. Mm-hmm. Usually we're like, somebody tipped the forklift trying to lift this or that, and so usually the forklift is the subject of pranks, not threats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting.
Erin, do you have any other thoughts besides threatening me for the joke? Nah.
Not really. Again, I also work in a place with a forklift, and it's not even something we joke about. So
yeah. Again, it's not something you should do. Nobody should do it. I do not condone it, but it is damn if it's not creative.
Hey, do you think you could find us a more uplifting story?
Let us try a more uplifting story. Let us try, or at least something we can actually laugh at. Because you know what, we'll take it back to Florida a little bit here, because yes, I know Florida, but because I want to point and laugh at petty fucking Floridians, however we're supposed to be. I live here and I don't even get it. The folks at Thrillist put together a list of the nation's 11 most angry cities, but there is a glaring omission: any city from the state of Florida. Yeah, that might be a glaring omission, but you know what? I'm actually happy for that. The Sunshine State didn't have any representation on the list. While that's probably a good thing, it's also a bit surprising given some of the criteria. There was certainly nothing scientific about the list, and it has no hard data or methodology to make it a legitimate study, but after looking at, this, basically, they're whining because they're not on an angriest cities list.
That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, Florida's so full of itself that they want to be included in everything. They're like, well, we're angry too. Yeah, I'm angry that I'm not on this list. What the fuck?
Here's the thing. Back in 2006, Men's Health actually did a slightly more scientific version of this study, and actually came out that Orlando was the angriest city
that
they had surveyed.
Oh, I can believe that. Oh, lordy. Oh, driving through...
But then you have a whole bunch of racism and crazy shit all over the country, and you realize, I don't think Orlando's really the angriest city I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I saw race riots going on in Orlando, but I think there's angrier places in the world.
Yeah. I mean, there are. I mean, I wouldn't say that Orlando does not belong on the list, because it does belong on an angry city, the angriest cities in the country list. You know.
Yeah. Those of you who are saying what's so angry about Orlando, I'm like, get out of the tourist bubble.
Yeah. Or
I lived there for 8 years. Orlando's a dump.
Yeah. I mean, and hell, even if I think one of the criteria was traffic. See, when I lived in Orlando for a little bit, I was working at Disney on their college program thing. I didn't drive but I saw enough of the traffic around there, and eventually I did end up driving through some of it just on my own. Oh my God. Summer traffic, going to Disney, going to Universal, going to SeaWorld, going everywhere. People don't know how to fucking drive. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of anger there. Granted, it's also going to be similar out in like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, other tourist locations because...
But you know what's different about all those cities?
Mm-hmm.
All those cities have a reliable fucking public transportation system.
There is also
Orlando has a bus line that nobody wants to pay for.
Wow.
We are not going to start a conversation about whose traffic is worse because everybody's traffic in every city is always worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the public transportation thing has always been my big thing with Orlando. Why? Because for a period of about 4 years, I didn't have a car in Orlando.
Ooh.
I worked at Disney. I lived on the far eastern side of Orlando. It took me 3 hours to get to work one way.
Jeebus.
Yeah.
No.
It's because all the parks make more money having special deals for transportation than public transportation could ever hope for.
Yeah, oh God. So I do have that list. The 13 angriest cities ranked by Thrillist.com, just kind of for shits and giggles. And it's, I kind of wanted to see what's on the list, and I'm sure you guys might be curious as well. And, whether on the show or in the audience. Number 11 on this list is Nashville, Tennessee. Traffic-wise, I can kind of see that because, again, they don't know how to drive. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and according to the article, and it's rising fast, one thinks of Nashville as just a chill little quasi-southern city where you can enjoy some hot chicken and get your country music on. But here's the thing. Nashville's increasing food and drink profile, coupled with the fairly central location and a lively party scene, has fueled the ascendance as the hot bachelorette party destination. Yeah, if you're a redneck. That's not fair. How many Nashville bachelor or bachelorette parties have you been to in the last year? 0. If you say less than 2, you have 0 friends. Hey! A relatively mild climate means that the party train is chugging most of the year, bringing hordes of bros and broettes to ruin everything in sight every Thursday night through Sunday morning. Fact. Journey covers in live music videos have risen 187% in the past 2 years, just because the band would rather get it out of the goddamn way rather than have Claire the Maid of Honor spitting lemon drops in their faces because they haven't played it yet because she's really marrying a boy born and raised in South Detroit, even though South Detroit is not a thing. On top of that, the show Nashville, coupled with the spotlight The Voice puts on all of the music star wannabes desperately trying to gain a spot in Blake Shelton's country mafia by blackmailing their parents into moving here, is really turning it from... Okay, goddamn, commas! Holy shit! Oh! If you were local, wouldn't you be angry if you suddenly had to deal with all of these people? Oh, wow. Number 10, Las Vegas. Which I'm
Let me take this. I'll take this one here.
Take it. Yes.
It goes without saying that Vegas is a casino town. You might not think you work for the casinos because you're a yoga teacher or sell third-rate pet food out of your truck, but you wouldn't have anyone to sell it to if Herbert Hoover didn't decide to build the Boulder Dam and allow the mafia to create an entire industry based around entertaining the men building that dam. And from there, we all know what happens. Small casinos beget larger casinos, beget entire adult playscapes that essentially function as the physical embodiment of mindlessly scrolling through your Instagram feed. But those giant adult playpens need people to run them, and so there are jobs. And the people that work those jobs need to get food and put their kids somewhere, and not light houses ablaze smoking vanilla cigarillos. And so there are more jobs playing off those jobs. And so you, as a citizen of Vegas, work for the casino, because now that the dam is built, the casino is the only reason why Vegas is still a thing. But isn't that kind of crazy? That the entire premise of the city is based around filling a need that technically no longer exists?
Huh.
But now, in some sense, we're all the guys building that dam. The fathers of Sin City made a smart pivot and figured out a way to maintain relevancy by promising a place whose hilariously effective tagline to attract visitors is basically a slightly more cheerful version of the Mafia's Omerta rule. And living and working there year-round in that bubble, or even just slightly outside of it, has caused some hard edges and anger. Great concerts, though.
I take it you lived there at some point.
No, I've never been to Vegas.
Oh, wow. Really? Huh.
All right, I'll stand corrected. The only place I have ever been in Las Vegas is the friggin' airport.
Close
The only
enough.
times I've ever been to Vegas is on a layover. That's it.
Yeah, I've been through it like twice in my life, both in the just driving a truck through. Last time I went, they do not. They're not kidding when they say you do work for a casino. It is you do work for the casinos because even the goddamn truck stops have casinos in them. I shit you not. Pilot Center, right north of Las Vegas. I go in, I get my food. In the restaurant, there's a goddamn like mini casino. I know little mini casinos aren't unusual in some truck stops, especially like also in like Reno or what have you. But it's Vegas. They're not lying. Kat, do you want to take number 9?
Okay. Okay, let's see. Portland. I'd always thought of this as a testing ground for hipster-fied ideas because they're marketed toward the mainstream as a chill town. I'm sorry, this font's really small. I need to get big font. Blind girl. Somewhere I lost my spot. God damn.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Oh. But over the past few years, as my annual trips there to visit and unsuccessfully attempt to fire Andy Kriza?
Whoever the hell that is.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, there's a decidedly less chill vibe emanating. Portland's anger does not present itself in the same manner as the many of the East Coast cities, blunt force swinging directly at you. Portland instead exists as a cauldron of passive aggression, but that aggression is becoming less passive thanks to an artisanal perfume-free laundry list of complaints. 1. Tech bros from San Francisco. Well, anyone from California is a devil imposter according to PDX standards, but San Francisco is most notorious, are coming here and buying stuff and e-commuting, and that is ruining the scene.
Oh my God.
Gentrification, like coffee, is hitting its 4th wave, which leads to stuff like this. And there's a link, and I don't know what it's for.
Link.
Colonization of cuisine.
Yeah. Looks like basically just food. It looks like.
Good though.
Yeah.
Everyone leaves notes for everyone else everywhere. Park oddly or too far in the bike lane and you get a politely aggressive note with a smiley face in lieu of a middle finger. They hate when local businesses open new locations, and they hate it even more when they sell out. They hate the Portlandia references and the thing I did earlier when describing it as a testing ground. And of course, people will not tell you these things. They will merely wait until the anger builds and then blog about it or put it in that note. Smiley face.
Yeah, and one thing they don't mention is the traffic can be hell. That's a theme with a lot of the larger cities. Anyways, traffic can be hell. And here's the thing that I think is kind of creative about the the traffic along I-5 going north and south. The traffic got to a point to where they actually have like a multi-story interstate there. Not like you would see like ramps that go over parts of the interstate or whatever, to try and transfer different things or whatever. No. I mean, like, for like at least a good mile, the interstate is double leveled, and I think that's kind of cool. Doesn't help much with the traffic because between Portland and Salem, oh my God. Yeah, I may have firsthand experience with that just a little bit. But yeah, passive aggression. Yeah, I didn't see much of it whenever I stayed there, but. Let's see. Number 8, San Francisco. Californian anger is not like other anger. It isn't quite the passive-aggressive anger you see up in Portland or the face-punching anger you see in Boston. Imagine the most chill guy you went to college with, likely of his life, with event after event falling outside his favor. At first, he's like, whatever, this is just a crappy day, it's cool, man. But eventually, he just blows his fucking top. That is California anger, and San Francisco is your chill friend from college's worst day every day. I've lived in San Francisco for 8 years now, and watched as the city has bent and adjusted itself to the second tech boom with the guilt of liberal rich kid, the city equivalent of Philip Seymour Hoffman in 25th Hour. It still takes the money coming into the city, but you can tell somewhere in its core it doesn't feel good about what it has done to the soul of the town, and the anger around the issues this has created. London housing prices, gross traffic starting at 2:30 p.m. on every bridge, a wave of people moving there not for the energy and the ethos of the city, excuse me, but because of the riches and the restaurants, and pad that on top of the longer-lasting San Francisco problems like an aggressive homeless population and fucking giant hills everywhere, cramping your calves, then you have the perfect angry city storm. Still, it is only California anger after all, so it's not rising above 8. Maybe if they were to actually do another Full House series, maybe something that addresses this a little bit more. Instead of being... I haven't seen Fuller House yet, so I don't know how well they address that.
Full House was a terrible program, and I don't know why people liked it.
I thought it was fun. Nah.
Full House
is a...
Huh?
When you're a kid, it's all right.
Yeah,
that's before you realize... You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you watch... And even I was like... And keep in mind, I was a teenager. I was like early teens when Full House started. And yeah, I watched it for a while, and then after a while I realized... This isn't actually funny. This is just cute masquerading as comedy.
Yeah. To each their own, I say. Do you want to take number 7, Erin?
Sure. To absolutely no one's surprise, New York City!
Center of the universe.
Yep. Compared to, say, New York 25 years ago, this might be the least angry New York has ever been in its life, and still that easily puts it in the top 7 angriest cities in America. New York anger is a reflex. It's a genetic trait passed down by generations of New Yorkers, and also a virus that spreads quickly to expats from other more relaxed areas. There's no cure as long as you still live in the city, and you can only treat the symptoms with alcohol and colorful curse words. New York anger first sort of bubbles up from impatience, and impatience when someone doesn't know how to do something you know how to do, like use a MetroCard, order at Katz's, or buy drugs off of Craigslist. I remember the first time I drove with my friend Frank, who grew up in New York. When we were going to take an exit off the highway, there was a long line of cars. Frank drove all the way to the front to the exit, and then at the last second spotted a car slow to move forward in the line and popped right in, cutting off about 45 cars. As people behind us beeped and flicked us off, Frank looked at me smiling and said, "What are they going to do? They should have thought of that. Fuck them." And that, friends, is a New York anger, a palpable sense that at all times you have to be looking for an opening to fuck someone over lest they see that opening first and then do it to you.
Yeah, there's a reason why that stereotype exists. I've seen people drive in New York. I don't want to drive there. Like,
I've spent 24 hours in New York, and that's, enough.
Yeah. It's like there was a reason why when I worked with Schneider, They made it a point to say, yeah, you will never have loads going into New York City. Thank goodness. Oh. Number 6.
New York is a dirty city.
Yeah.
It is dirty. That's what I remember about visiting New York, was like, oh, this is Broadway. Oh, this is, all these great places. And I'm like, does it always smell like trash, though? I mean, like, Jersey smelled bad still, but, like, New York during the rain was disgusting.
Yeah, I was not impressed with New York, and what I'm even less impressed by is the people who live there acting like they're superior to everybody else.
Yeah. Kat, you want to take number 6?
Number 6, Chicago. Oh, great. This is in my neck of the woods. A breakdown of the annual cycle of Chicago anger starting on January 1st. Hangover anger, back to work anger, fell on a patch of ice coming back from work anger, scraping off your car in the morning anger, dibs anger, how the hell is it still snowing anger, is Derrick Rose ever going to be good again anger, how the fuck is it still snowing this much in March anger, Rom anger, 15 hours into St. Patrick's Day that started with an ill-advised attempt to see them dye the river that has now led you to a bar where you swore you'd never return to anger. The Bears screwed up the draft again anger. It's still too cold. It's still too cold to be at this baseball game anger. How is it not warm yet anger? How did it get this hot already anger? Cubs versus White Sox anger. This street fest is a goddamn nightmare anger. Why did I go to Navy Pier to watch the goddamn fireworks anger? It's Lola weekend and everyone is terrible anger. Rom anger again. Bullshit CTA closure anger. How is it fall already anger? Jay Cutler did something unforgivably stupid anger. October snow anger. Getting bowled over on Michigan Avenue by hordes of American Girl doll grubbing suburbanites from Winnetka while Christmas shopping anger. Dealing with O'Hare in any capacity during the holidays anger. And repeat every year.
I would add an amendment: dealing with O'Hare at any time of the year. Anger.
That's what I was going to say. O'Hare anytime.
O'Hare is terrible.
Oh, I've heard stories.
Being the only good place in the whole of Illinois while still being terrible. Anger.
Just wow. And the thing is, I've stayed like over Valentine's Day. I went and visited Becky. I stayed a few days in Joliet, which is right outside of Chicago, so it's close enough. And I can relate to some of those angers, like scraping car off in the morning anger. How the hell is it still snowing anger? Yeah, I can relate to those, just a little bit.
Yeah. My brother did his boot camp in the winter in north of Chicago, like just north of Chicago, just outside the city. And like we were like, why in God's name is it so fucking cold? It was awful. It was like a bunch of guys marching, waiting for the ceremony. They had to march outside in like -10-degree weather.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why live in Chicago at all?
I know why I would live there, but for other people,
it's not worth it. Trust me.
Okay, Becky, we're moving to Indianapolis. No, I'm kidding.
No, but seriously, anywhere but Chicago.
Yeah, or actually anywhere but number 5, Detroit. So it's hard to grapple with the Detroit anger divorced from the industrial decline and other heavyweight factors that this relatively trivial endeavor promised to avoid. But here's the thing. Detroit is, even at its absolute biggest, brassiest, car-makingest peak, still would have placed somewhere in the top 10 here. Detroit, quite simply, has always been fueled, by a combo of rage and dickishness. This is the city that gave us the Bad Boys and Malice at the Palace. It has slaughtered an untold number of octopi in its pursuit of macabre and twisted hockey celebrations. It gave the world the musical stylings of Kid Rock, who can only be truly enjoyed by the perpetually angry, and Eminem, same and also quite the angry fellow himself. So yeah, to recap, Detroit has plenty to be quite legitimately angry about, but rest assured, anger was coursing through that city's veins well before tough times showed up. Yeah, well, if they produce Kid Rock and Eminem, I can believe it.
Send him to Detroit.
Yes. Erin, you want to take number 4?
Yep. Our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. At the epicenter of the anger firestorm that is the American political system, D.C. is one of the few American cities you could almost argue was designed for anger. Where else are the lines between diametrically opposed viewpoints so clearly demarcated? Had to use big words there because D.C. people paid big money for those fancy educations that have made them left in terrible debt while they slave away on congressional staff hoping to make enough connections to stumble into some lucrative lobbying action. Where were we? Oh, right. So not only is one side of the population gunning for the other side's jobs, but the roads are a waking nightmare, the metro isn't much better, and somehow they handle the whole snow removal thing no better than, say, Texas. And also, people aren't angry about the rest of the country trying to change their embarrassing racial slur of a football team. They're angry about having to share sidewalk space with the former.
Ooh. Yeah. If you're from DC and listening to the show, write on in and let us know exactly how accurate this is.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
I only lived in Baltimore for 10 years, and I can tell you that's accurate about D.C.
Well, there you go.
Sorry, D.C. I'm surprised Baltimore isn't on the list, but this is one of those pieces that isn't going into the deep-rooted problems with cities. It's more of the superficial problems with cities.
Yeah.
And if it were a deep-rooted problem with the cities, D.C. would still be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, the traffic is a fucking nightmare. It really is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
The Beltway is the worst way.
Indeed. And the most I've traveled through there, I've driven trucks around DC, never through it, but I've taken cabs through DC, taken megabus through DC. I don't want to drive there. Just like New York. Well, I'd rather drive there than New York City. But I still find it kind of wary. Number 3 is...
DC is nothing but one-way streets. It is literally one-way streets and the Beltway.
Yep.
And both are terrible choices.
Very much so. Number 3 is Boston. Boston. I think the best example I can give of Boston anger is the fact that, before I moved out, I thought everyone everywhere normally got in fights at 2 a.m. outside of downtown bars, or when they saw guys they played high school basketball against at the mall, or when taking smoke breaks in the parking lot of their confirmation classes. Boston anger is a combination of things: sports fandom that goes well past obsession, fickle and unpredictable 5-month bone-chilling winters, a population of people heavily associated with pugilist Ireland, an insecurity stemming from constant self-evaluation against New York, horrible traffic on the Pike, 93, 95, Starro, and beyond, a sizable population of college students who only use the town's dazzling public spaces as a receptacle for vomit and urine, and an irrational cannoli rivalry. The answer is Mike's, damn it. It's an entire city of people all carrying a chip on their shoulders the size of Roger Goodell planking, and those are the more welcoming ones. Okay, anybody from the D-pad? I know you guys are based in Boston. Write in and let us know how accurate this is, please. Because I know at least one of you has to be listening. Erin, do you want to take number 2?
Number 2, Cleveland. When the notion that God himself hates your city becomes not really an insult to much as an oft-repeated truism coming off a seemingly unendless series of sports heartbreaks, don't kid yourself, the Cavs season isn't going to end well. It's hard not to be sad, but also more than a little angry about that sadness. Hell, their football stadium is now rightfully known as the Factory of Sadness, thanks to a hilarious video that is also, well, quite angry.
Jesus.
And sure, the downtrodden sports fan things is everyone's shorthand go-to for Cleveland, but it's also powerful specifically because Clevelanders have so very much to be angry about, and yet the passionately followed local teams fail time and again to assuage that anger even just a little bit for just one glorious day. All the Great Lakes Christmas ale in the world can't make that right. As a result, there's a pronounced edge to Clevelanders. As the Bone Thugs put it, Cleveland is the city where we come from, so run, run. Also, Bone Thugs should have had a way bigger career. Another thing to be angry about.
It's also a perfect weird name for a planet. Yeah. Somewhere Becky is facepalming.
Somewhere I'm plotting your horrible brutal murder.
There you go.
That's right up there with the forklift joke.
Yeah. and people who don't get the reference, no. Quack quack. Quack foo.
Oh, for God's sake, quit dancing around it. It's from Howard the Duck.
Yes. I wanted to encourage people to look it up. But no, it's okay. Oh. And
funny thing, just quick sidebar really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Back when they actually released Howard the Duck on DVD, funny story I heard, Tim Robbins actually heard about it, and he was like, why didn't they get a hold of me? I have home movies from when we were making that.
Oh my God. I want to see those.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, so, Kat, you want to take number 1?
Number 1, Philadelphia. Has there ever been a more ironic nickname for a city than Philly's brotherly love moniker? Or perhaps that is fitting, as brothers tend to show their brotherly love by beating the shit out of each other repeatedly. The biggest challenge in writing about Philly and its anger issues was where to begin, perhaps with the infamous sports fans, including the most recent despicableness, in which Flyers fans threw bracelets honoring their owner who had recently died of bladder cancer onto the ice at a game to the point where the announcer had to yell at them. Or past transgressions, like the fan who intentionally threw up on an 11-year-old girl at a Phillies game in 2010, or the ones who loudly cheered when Michael Irvin sustained a career-ending neck injury in 1999, or their penchant for throwing batteries at G.J. Drew and snowballs at Santa and pretty much everyone else.
Yeesh.
Threw up on an 11-year-old girl. Wow.
Deliberately. What an asshole.
Wow.
It goes well beyond boorish fandom. Some of the elements are similar to Boston. The insecurity when comparing themselves to New York that manifests itself as over-the-top bravado. The penchant for street festivals devolving into public urine and vomit competitions. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's not just my city. That's everywhere, I guess, then. An accent that sounds like someone threw a chainsaw into a trash fire filled with gravel, etc. But Philadelphia is its own unique beast. Many years ago, I was standing outside a bar in Boston with my buddy Casey. Case asked a guy wearing a scully cap if he could bum him a cigarette. The guy eyed him up and down while blowing smoke out the side of his mouth. "Where are you from?" he asked. "Here," Casey said, somewhat uneasily. "Boston." "Well," the guy said, smiling in a twisted way, "I'm from somewhere better than you, see?" Despite recognizing that he was now an unwilling participant in a rhetorical setup, Casey played along. "Where?" "Philly," our man said, in a challenging, proud voice. His eyes had a little bit of crazy in them. He looked like a combination of a wounded animal and Johnny Ringo in Tombstone when he finally decides he's going to face off against Doc Holliday. He stood staring at Casey for a good 10 seconds, then flicked a cigarette at his feet and walked away. Just then, the bouncer who'd been watching the whole thing take place let out a low whistle and spoke all of the truth. "Man," he said, "in Philly you just come out angry."
Wow. So according to the Thrillist, the number one city is Philadelphia in terms of anger. Oh wow, and that actually is going to take us to the end because we used up a lot of time on that one, which is good, I mean,
which is good considering every other story you gave us is depressing as hell.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that one this week, but although I guess I could say I arguably saved it with that list. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe a bit like Steven Universe. There, he gets himself into something and then somehow gets himself out of it. At least for this week. We'll see how I do next week. So if we wanted to find Erin on the social medias, where could we find him?
You can find me at Shallow15, SHALLOW15 on Twitter. I also have a Tumblr, notesfromtheidiotbox.tumblr.com. Videos can be found on YouTube, youtube.com/DubiousKhan, Patreon, patreon.com/DubiousKhan, and of course other places including rtgilmer.com.
Yay! And Kat, where could we find you?
You can find me on the social medias on Twitter at LabyrinthCat and Facebook.com/NerdistCat, and you can check out my other podcast, Nerd to Third Power, which is on YouTube and iTunes and This Week in Geek, and my other show, What the Fuck, which is over on 1201beyond.com. And you can check out my new video review series. We put positive spins on any anime that you throw at us. It's called Your Favorite Anime Rocks. Our YouTube channel is the Positive Service Announcement Team. And again, we're on YouTube, and we also have a Facebook group. So check it out.
Yay!
That's a great name, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
The Positive Service Announcement Team.
It took us like 5 days to come up with. We had no idea what to call it.
Isn't that the worst thing, trying to come up with a name for something? But if you want to find me on the social medias, you can find me on the Twitters, the Tumblrs, pretty much anywhere at Gomer21XX. My stuff can be found at rtgomer.com and nerdvice.com. I do have my own YouTube channel, of course, at Gomer21XX, and also this show, and also the Port Charlie podcast, one of my other shows. I'm still working on one for Constructive Deconstruction, but my podcasts are now going to have their own YouTube channels. The link to Thespian Talk should be right down there in the doobly-doo. Or just look up Thespian Talk. You should be able to find it, I hope. But it is there. I'll be working on getting archives up as soon as I can, up to the YouTube channel. That way, if, for whatever reason I can't do an MP3 version or whatever, you'll still be able to do the videos. And there are plenty of programs which will allow you to rip the MP3s if you really need an MP3 version, and I'm somehow not able to provide it. Let's see. I think that is about it from me. Oh yeah, I do have a Facebook fan page, Gomer Ranting Thespian. Go check that out. Give it a like. Talk to other like-minded people. Get the conversation going. And of course, if you want to submit stuff to the show, if you want to submit news stories, if you want to submit just fan art, whatever, go to thespiantalk.tumblr.com. Ask box is always open. We'll answer your questions. We'll talk about almost anything. I am going to try, obviously I failed this week, I am going to try to keep things a little comparatively lighter, for at least for a few weeks, and then, because we know as the election season goes on and on and on, we're probably going to end up talking about that a little bit more, so at least for the next few weeks, I'm going to try and keep it a little bit of lightness, to kind of light us up a little bit, and then it's inevitably going to have to pop in, unless something really huge happens, and we'll know if it's something really, really huge. But with that, thank you guys for listening, and until next time, this is Gomer the Ranting Thespian with Erin Mills, aka DubiousKhan, and the cat, signing off.
Thespian Talk is an RT Gomer Productions presentation. Our show's theme is Kick Shock by Kevin MacLeod. Find out more at incompetech.com. If you like this show and want to help support future episodes, head over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX. For a contribution as little as $1 per production, you can get early access to all future productions, as well as monthly Patreon-only vlogs and announcements. Our show's artwork was produced by the talented Becky Hopkins, who can be commissioned by going to patreon.com/BeckyHop. Check us out on iTunes or visit rtgomer.com for more great shows.